Hi and welcome to Quirky Books with Katie. Today I am going to be talking about some of my favorite classics. I think that I read kind of a lot of classics, more than most people, but I have in no means read a lot. So today I'm going to be talking about some of my favorites. You'll probably sense a common theme. 3 out of these 4 books are romance-centered. Those are just the kind of classics that I like. So I am going to get started. First off, we have 1984 by George Orwell, and this book was written in the 1950s, and it was basically the author's prediction of what would happen to the world if it kind of kept going in the direction that it was going. He had a very pessimistic view of the future, and I think this is the kind of book that you definitely want to go into not knowing that much about it. I'm not going to give anything more of a summary, but I'm just going to say that this is by far one of the creepiest books I have ever read. It scared me crapless, frankly, and I just loved kind of finding the parallels between society today and this society, and it kind of makes you wonder, are we headed towards this sort of a future? And George Orwell is brilliant, and I absolutely adored this book. Next up, we have Wuthering Heights by Charlotte Bronte, and this is the first book in this video that is a tragic romance. It is a story of a wealthy young woman named Kathy who falls in love with a man named Heathcliff who's very poor and an orphan, and they are in love with each other when they are younger, but they don't. Through a series of events, their romance becomes more tragic and complicated and twisted. And the first part of this book is about Kathy and Heathcliff, and the second part of this book is about their children and their children's relationship. It is just, oh man, this is like the epitome of a gothic romance with the moors and England, and I've read this book so many times now. It is just fabulous. Next, we have Pride and Prejudice by Jane Austen. If you know me, you are not surprised at all that this is in this video. I read this book for the first time when I was in 6th grade, and I was just enamored with it. I think I've read it and reread it almost 5 times since then. This is the story of Elizabeth Bennet, and she is one in 5 sisters, and her mother's main goal is to find all of her daughters a husband. This book is the story of Elizabeth kind of discovering herself and finding some romantic suitors, and one of the suitors in the mix for Elizabeth's hand is a one Mr. Darcy, who is tall, silent, and brooding. And there's one little catch though, he and Elizabeth hate each other, but throughout this book they kind of get to know each other better and their relationship becomes very complicated. Now, this is generally a lighter book, and I just love this because of the story. This is basically the equivalent of a Victorian rom-com. I don't mean to bash it by saying that, but it is just such an entertaining read, and if you are kind of afraid of classics, I would really suggest this one. It's not very long, it's only 300 pages, and it's a very entertaining story, and I feel like it is very easy to understand what's going on. And last but not least, we have my new favorite classic, which is Jane Eyre by Charlotte Bronte. You guys are probably sick of how much I talk about this book, but I'll talk about it once more. It is the story of a woman named Jane Eyre, and she gets assigned to be a governess at Thornfield Hall, where she meets the brooding Mr. Rochester, who also happens to be 20 years older than her. And they kind of get involved in a very complicated, messed up relationship. And Jane Eyre is the story of Jane Eyre and kind of how she really finds herself. What I love about this book most of all is the romance. It is flawless. It made me cry multiple times because of how romantic it was, which is sad. And I just think this is a really amazing book. It's creepy, it's romantic, it has action, and it has self-discovery, and I absolutely adore this. I am always looking for more classics to read, so if you have any recommendations for me, let me know in the comments down below. Let me know what some of your favorite classics are, because I'm always looking to broaden my horizons. So thank you guys for watching. Be sure to subscribe to my channel, and I will talk to you again soon.